Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening?
Maybe good morning.
Perhaps, depending on when they're listening. And welcome to another wonderful episode that we are co-creating.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Stick a fork in my eye.
The shitty... No, that's not
the
it.
shitty podcast.
The Shitty Coach Podcast.
Coachy Shit.
We are your shitty coaches.
We are. Actually, I think you're an exceptional coach.
I will accept that compliment because it is one of my daily intentions.
Oh.
And I will reflect that compliment back to you. I believe you are a very powerful and valuable coach.
Oh, thanks.
So,
thanks,
nice
man.
Work. High five.
High five.
So we're not really a shitty coach. This is the
actually
Coachy,
pretty good.
Coachy Shit podcast, not the Shitty Coach podcast. Episode 17. She's Theresa.
And he's Ryan Stanley.
And we're here today
to eat cheese.
Yes, we are going to eat cheese and
guacamole.
Guacamole.
Two of my favorite things.
Not just guacamole.
It's holy guacamole.
It literally is holy guacamole.
Holy moly. So I gave up dairy. I've been on a good streak.
And Derry's really upset for you giving up on it.
She'll be okay. But we have mini Baby Bells, and we're going to eat them. Mini Baby Bell pocket cheeses.
Is that what these are?
Yeah.
Small wheels of cheese?
Little tiny cheese wheels. I think it's imperative that as we talk about our shitty coaching, we have snacks.
Yes.
So I just want you all to know out there that this may sound ridiculous, but if you take guacamole, and instead of using a chip, you use a tiny cheese wheel.
Very small.
It's very good.
Like the size of a silver dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Just dip it in, little holy guacamole.
That's very good.
That's WHOLLY, by the way. So
we should try and get an endorsement.
I was going to say that's our big plug for today. Perhaps they'll give us a shout out.
Or not.
Or not.
Either way, I'm still going to eat their stuff because it's pretty good.
Just because of the deliciousness.
And I would say that I've created this snack. Wouldn't you, Ryan Stanley?
I would say that the snack did not exist in here, in our recording studio, until you brought it in and created and put them together.
Mm-hmm.
Which is surprisingly a tremendous lead into our topic of conversation for today.
You don't say.
I am saying. So often, I think in episodes 7, 11, 12...
42.
Yeah, definitely future episode 42.
I think 138, it's in there.
That one, you know what? We touch on it in future episode 138.
Maybe, yeah.
But not too much.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the concept is that we are all creators. And we are creating.
Anyway.
We are creating with everything we do. So, for instance, right now, we are creating a podcast.
And an awesome snack. But yeah, a podcast for sure.
I'm creating a human eating this wheel dipped in a plastic thing of holy guacamole.
So you're going to turn cheese and guac into hair and fingernails and skin and stuff.
Well, that just...
You don't like
While I was taking my first bite, was a weird super combo of information.
Yeah, and if you
infiltrating my senses and my brain at the same time.
Well, I bought extra cheese in case you run out.
Thank you.
Baby Bell happens to be,
your preferred?
Sometimes, in terms of pocket cheeses, but in terms of nutrition, that kind of thing, yeah. I mean, you're pretty much taking that cheese. Oh man, like a pregnant woman, like somebody who's pregnant.
Yeah.
It's like they're literally eating a piece of chicken and they will turn that into fingers and toes.
It's a little scary.
It's a little alien.
It's like a little bird turning into human.
I don't know.
Protein.
Bird to human.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a physical creative
creation.
Act. Well, what you're talking about, I think, is more energetic. Or fill us in a little bit.
Well, from a manifestation standpoint, from a metaphysical standpoint, we talk about vision boards, we talk about creating goals, we talk about having a vision of what you would like to see, and then it being created.
Okay.
And so I have often, in private conversations with you, said that, I consider myself a co-creator, that I'm creating, but there's something else in the meta, the universe, that is also doing equal, if not more work than I am. I don't like the word work in this but you know what I'm saying. Effort,
okay.
Creation.
There's something else out there. The ether is conspiring.
God, the universe, atoms. I don't really understand how it all works, specifically from a scientific standpoint.
Photons, quarks.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Dark matter.
Multiple universes.
Multiverses.
Right.
Okay.
So I am under the belief, based on my extensive experience in life as a medical physicist, and
Sounds like a personal problem.
eater of cheese dipped in guacamole, No, I honestly believe we are creators, and when you look at it that way, it's actually the whole prologue for the book that I'm writing right now. That you are a creator. So if you are dressed in blue, you create a blue man. If you are sad, you're creating a sad person.
Yeah.
If you are walking downstairs, you're creating a person walking.
So, yes, I agree, and I definitely see that perspective very vividly, actively. I mean,
Got another piece of cheese? Oh, it's right here. Never
yeah,
mind.
I got you.
Thanks.
It's cool. Let me just clean these up. But, I mean, I would agree wholeheartedly that you create the life that you're living. I mean, I think that was my first blog post I ever wrote, was Create the Life You Want to Live. It's the name of my LLC that I do all my coaching and speaking and things under.
Is
Creative Life Consulting. It's
Nice.
just the LLC name.
Yep.
But it's all about creating the life that you want to live. And I mean, I could think back to times in my life where I was like, I'm going to create this. Like right now, I'm looking at a car, and I know that I will get that car. That is
Right.
the car that I will be driving. I am creating that.
creating that outcome.
Yeah, that outcome, like that potential future is the potential future that I am choosing to create, and I will make that happen.
Okay.
You're really manhandling that cheese over there.
Having trouble getting out of the wheel.
You got it. Okay,
All
there
right,
you go.
got it.
But the thing that you had mentioned that I think we conflict on is this idea of gratitude. So if you are creating something and you say thank you, there's this gratitude to the universe, who are you actually thanking? And are you creating or co-creating?
Yes. You're asking
There
me?
was an or in there.
Yes.
That's like saying,
well,
what's your favorite color? Oh, yes.
But that's not what you said. You said you say this, and then I thought you were saying that I was saying
Yeah, but I
this
guess
or
I'm
that. But you're asking me.
pulling. Yeah, it's
So my
We're-
belief is that I am co-creating. I believe that I'm putting it out there, and the response of the metaphysical universe of quarks and atoms then puts things into motion that I don't see or have any understanding of how they work,
okay.
and creates it as well.
So would you not venture to say though that that which you desire is that which you manifest regardless? And because that which I desire and that which I manifest is and will be. So it made sense in my head like 2 seconds ago. So the idea is that you are the universe and I am the universe.
Mm-hmm.
But
So you're saying, how do I thank myself?
no, the idea is thanking the universe is thanking someone else in their essence of universe. Soulness. In the fact that they're words. This made so much sense before the cheese.
In the brain, it was the guacamole.
God, that dairy gets me every time. It messes
that.
with my brain waves. But basically, it's kind of like if you know that I love cheese and I am thinking about cheese often and I've put it out into the universe and you have a desire to share cheese with me and I have a desire to have cheese. It's like we both have aligned intentions and we're both creating because we are both the universe.
Right.
So in effect, yes, we're co-creating, but also we are just absolutely creating in and of itself, period, no?
Well, no.
We just share an aligned vision of creation.
We do, but
Okay.
there's something that had to happen in between that for us to even connect in the first place.
Choice.
Well, we randomly didn't choose to work together.
But we did. We both chose something because we both have aligned beliefs and values. And it just happened to be this. Because if you weren't the other person on my team, it would be someone else
Right.
who had aligned beliefs and values.
And they might not like cheese, though.
That's great. So maybe that future, so you're going way back into potential pasts to create a current future, which I don't know that much
Which
about
is
time
where-
travel, but
Well, it's where the creation begins, right? The creation had to happen at one point.
yeah.
And so now that's so I'm going, in order for me, in your example, to bring you cheese because I like cheese and you like cheese, I had to get to know you or get to meet you or have to interact with you at some point.
Sure.
And so in the grand scheme of things, I often talk with anybody who works at IPEC. I honestly believe everybody who comes, and everywhere, but I mean, I have this conversation often with people I'm coaching or whatever, that we were all drawn to this company and ended up working here at the time we did for very specific reasons based on the thoughts that we had at some point in our lives, or actions, conversations, that type of a thing, right?
Yeah.
So we're all creating our future, right?
Sure.
But
But
when you were deciding, when you were 0 through X, when you got this job, you weren't thinking, I want to work at IPEC. You were just living your life and having experiences that taught you about what you like and don't like, and then focusing on those and creating more in your life. Meanwhile,
But if
Bruce D. Schneider was having his experience
sure.
and created this company.
But here's the thing, though. I get it. Yeah. But the thing is I could say that about anything all the time ever, because if I didn't make this decision to work here, because I literally decided to work here. I called up, I don't know if you remember, I called the COO at the time.
Yeah.
And I basically said, hey, you're going to hire me. And if you don't, you're going to regret it.
Right.
She was like,
fine, get in here.
Tell me more. So that, like, I literally, but if I didn't find IPEC, it would be another company that I would work for.
Yeah.
If I didn't have this cheese and this guacamole, I would be doing something different, and I would be saying the same exact thing about that experience, that all of these things led me to exactly here, and there's this massive, deep meaningfulness behind it, and the universe is conspiring just for this. Basically, the universe is always conspiring. It's always happening. So you can use that logic and rationale for anything that happens ever.
Correct. And therefore, you are a co-creator.
Yeah, but doesn't that make it a little less intriguing, where it's like when you meet someone and it's like star-crossed lovers, it's like, oh, so many things had to happen for us to meet. And it's like, yeah, so many things had to happen for everything to happen. So, in effect, if we're all special, no one's special kind of thing?
Correct.
So, but I feel like that doesn't necessarily mean that we're co-creating. It's all just happening and you're making choices. But I can see why, I kind of go back and forth on it. I almost want to ask you to sell me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But don't, because that would defeat the purpose.
I'm not a salesperson.
Oh, I get it. That's a guy. So in our roles...
That's an inside joke here at IPEC.
No, it's not really an inside joke, but basically, I mean, I guess it is. But we're admissions coaches, and people always call us sales.
When they call, they're like, oh, well, don't try to sell me on this. I'm like...
Or I had someone today ask me, they're like, give me your best elevator pitch. And I was like, I don't really like elevators.
And I'm not really a salesperson.
I could give you the escalator pitch. I sold her with that, apparently.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty good. She was the opera singer.
Ah.
Or not. I talked to a lot of people today. Either way.
We digress?
Totally.
So in any case, you're right. Well, it may be less, I forget what the word you used.
We're all special, no one's special.
Yeah, but we are all special. But that's because we're in this reality where we choose to create something and then we have the opportunity for it to actually happen. What does physically happen if you just sit in a room? So like here's and I'm thinking out loud. If you just sat in a room, you locked yourself in a room.
Oh, no. Kind of like I do every day.
But with no furniture, no phone, no access to whatever. And you just sat and thought about something all day, every day for 2 weeks until you were starving and you died. I don't know. I don't know how long it takes.
So dramatic, but okay, I'm in.
Would there be something to bring that into your life? Whatever that was.
Would there be, wait, one more time, would there be
So I'm going to the co-creator aspect, right? So, I mean, you could say, okay, I went to the refrigerator and I bought this cheese, and so I brought here and I'm creating a man eating cheese.
Let's stick with the room, because I was really on that, and then you said something that I didn't connect. One more time.
So I'm saying you're in a room.
Yes, and I'm going to die from 2 weeks.
However long it takes you to starve to death.
And I starved to death in this room.
Right. But before that, if you're spending every single moment focusing on manifesting something different without anything else, and that thing might be someone who comes and knocks on the door, or I don't know what it is. Like, wouldn't that be created someplace? So for the person to make cheese that you love, you wouldn't have known that you love it had it not been created by the universe that put people in a position where they wanted to make cheese, which then ended up in a factory, which ended up in a wheel that ended up.
I get it, but if I wasn't here to love the cheese, would that cheese still have been made?
Yes.
Exactly.
But you didn't create your experience.
Because it was not... Well, I don't even know how that makes sense. You didn't create the experience. The cheese is there. I didn't create the experience of experiencing the cheese because I was doing something else where I was co-creating that experience.
Right.
So I feel like it's just a matter of choice, and it's not necessarily co-creation per se. It's just a matter of creation, and you encounter, possibly? I don't know.
So let's take I feel
like there's a lot of interchangeability with a lot of this stuff.
So let's take your perspective that it's not a co-creation.
Well, okay, I'm seeing it from that way. I can see it from both ways, so I don't want to latch onto that, but let's do that for now.
Okay, good.
Is that cool?
Yeah, 100%.
Kind of keeping myself in the middle line here.
Hedging the bets.
Well, kind of, because I don't really know where I fall yet.
I would just say that you can't do both. It's kind of one or the other, based on the whole concept that you are...
So are you saying that if you get terminal cancer or get hit by a bus on your way out of here, that you co-created that, and that's because you decided that that's what you wanted?
Not that I wanted, but yes, that I co-created it.
But are you going to co-create things that you don't desire?
Yes,
So that's where things like worry, fear, doubt, insecurity come in.
absolutely.
Okay, I would definitely agree with that. Okay, yeah, negative co-creation.
Absolutely. Like I don't think people are code creating just to make you feel great. Like, oh, they want cheese. Let me give them cheese.
Oh, that's why the cheese is. I get emotionally. I
I
love
know.
cheese.
That's why
All
I'm
right, come
keep
on.
bringing it back. I want to keep something that you're passionate about in the center of the
You're
conversation.
playing with my heart, Ryan. Cheese. You're so cheesy.
Cheese, Louise.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that was a cheesy joke.
That's terrible. So bring it back.
So bring it back. So my point being that if you are creating anything, we'll go back to the very basics. So we'll go back to your perspective. Let's say I'm just a creator. There's nothing else. It's not God. It's not the universe. There's nothing happening. I am just a sole creator, right? I think about something and therefore it exists.
Well, you think you're a creation and all of your creations are bouncing off of other people's creations.
Right.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. It's not like we co-created, this guy in Switzerland and I co-created this cheese experience. He has no idea. He just made a thing, did his thing, and put it out into the universe. The same as I had a desire and I put it out into the universe.
But
How is that co-creation
the
rather than just
co-creation
creation?
comes to this point where you created your vision of the cheese based on life's experience, and then it showed up. Maybe the cheese.
But it
Is,
didn't- it
maybe the
didn't show
cheese
up.
isn't the best example here.
It didn't show up. I went out and sought it out because that's what I knew that I wanted. I wanted to have that
So
experience.
let's say you we'll use a coincidence, or and we talk about that all the time. Certain things you think about something, you think about someone, etc. They show up.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
Right, all day, every day. And the more,
pretty much.
yeah, and the more you feed into that, meaning not feed into it as it's
When
a
you
lie.
acknowledge and have the awareness
Thank
of.
you. Yeah, the more you acknowledge it and see it, and then, in my experience, show gratitude for it, the more
Sure.
you start to see it, and the more it starts to almost show up as signals and
The gratitude is always, thank you, universe.
yeah, and directions. Like, oh, thanks, yes,
Thanks.
I see that you see me, and I see you back, and the more you see that, and the more it sees you.
I just stop at thank you.
Yeah.
But I just imagine big eyes off in the Andromeda Nebula out there somewhere in the universe.
Watching the eye of
There's a
Soren.
quark waving.
Hi. But so those coincidences that show up in our life, are they? So it's not necessarily a metaphysical. It's not necessarily a physical thing like cheese, as much as it is you having a thought that you want something, or even if it's not, oh, I want this, as much as I'm thinking about this person or I'm thinking about this thing, and then the next day someone shows up in your life and brings it to you. The co-creator in my story is that the waves of the universe, like the stuff that I don't understand, the metaphysics, spoke to somebody else's experience, put somebody else in line to have a conversation with somebody who decided to come over to your house and bring that to you.
Sure.
So they brought something to you, but your creation of my metaphysical experience, your thoughts about it, led to the other magic, for lack of a better word, of the universe to kind of put it into your path. That's where the co-creation part comes from for me.
I get that.
All right, that's it. That was episode 17.
Peace. But, I mean, like, if you think about it, right? So, the way that you're saying it, though, or earlier in our conversation, so what you said, I get it. I don't believe in coincidence. There's coincidence.
Right.
Incidents are happening
Occurring.
at the same time, same place, same locale, that kind of thing. But you make it seem as if, though, like, I am co-creating the salt being on my desk in this recording studio. Like, I am co-creating this drop ceiling.
By the way, I didn't even know we had salt for me to put in the guacamole. Was that a thing that I missed out on?
No, I would usually cut an avocado in half and put salt.
bit of salt.
I dated a guy once that used to put balsamic vinegar in his avocados.
Yeah.
That was actually pretty good.
Okay.
But
So
I haven't
you've got it
really
here
mixed
just in case?
I had 3 avocados
Earlier.
yesterday and today.
Nice.
Been on a binge. They were on sale. I love them. Come on.
Can't go wrong.
But so, what were we talking about?
Salt. You meant like you
So-
co-create the salt here.
Like, I put this salt there a while ago, but if I didn't co-create, like, it's kind of like if I didn't pick that as my example, I could have picked literally anything else. So I feel like there's this weight being put on the things that we do choose and giving them all of this existential value in a co-creative sense, when in reality, I mean, it's just one of 1,000 things that are in this room that I could have picked to make an example.
But all of them, all 1,000 of them, were brought here by you.
Not necessarily.
Well, or someone,
I was
but
gonna say.
into your experience.
There's a lot of weird things in this room. There's a box under this desk with a whole bunch of fake, like, gag things I've been waiting to use.
Yes.
I didn't. Somebody gave those. You know?
The gift that keeps on giving.
It's really weird. There's a fake rat in there that looks oddly real.
Interesting.
I'll show you after.
I can't wait.
Maybe we'll stick a picture of it on Instagram.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not a bad idea.
But I mean, even so the fact that somebody else put something in here, is that co-creation? I mean, I get it. It's like they're co-creating this experience by somebody painted the walls and hung the ceiling, and I don't know where the fuck this poster came from, but it showed up. It's a Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich, 17 Principles of Success poster?
Yeah. Cool.
But like...
So here I would put it this way.
There's this specialty given to things because I've decided that there's specialness to them.
So the opposite would be what?
That things just are as they are. And they exist in the universe, and you can choose to acknowledge and function around them, within them, interact with them, give them credence or not.
Cool. So why is that different? I'm not saying it's not. So why is that different?
It's absolutely different. It's different ends of the spectrum. Something is absolutely special. It's a co-creative experience given to me by the universe versus something that just exists.
For the sake of being on its own, with no purpose.
For the sake of existence. And everything, I mean, if we really want to get existential, talk about purpose. I have a firm belief that life only has a purpose that you give it. And I know that a lot of people would say, like, a lot of people pull back to religion or, the meaning of life. And, I feel like meaning is that which is given. Like, if you didn't know that this table was a table, would you know it was a table? Like, if you didn't know it was a Tuesday, would you know it was Tuesday?
Right.
You give it meaning.
Yeah.
It's a cultural, societal, personal, religious, spiritual, something ascribed to it to give it purpose and meaning.
But I think you're using value, like you're adding a value of something, making it quote unquote special or not special versus just existing and not existing.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
So I guess my point in bringing this up was, I think at one point and this is months and months ago.
Oh God, I've grown. I've read books since then, Ryan.
I know. So the reason this topic came up to begin with, I said, I think we're all co-creators. And you're like, what does that even mean? Like, are we really co-creators or are we just creators? And so that's kind of where the conversation. So I would ask you, it seems like there's 3 basic options here.
Okay. Give it to me straight. Should I take notes?
No. Co-creator,
That is sticky.
creator, or neither.
Observer.
Observer, thank you. And it sounds like you're leaning more towards the observer who believes you can create if you wanted to.
Well, ultimately you are, unless you aren't. So you are a creator if you're creating, you're an observer if you're observing. It's kind of like you can't watch a soccer game and be in it unless you're that guy who's out in left field, what is this? It's baseball. Who's out, like, they call it, like, don't watch the game, play the game. Like, if you're just kind of watching the play and you're on the field,
while you're there kind of hanging out.
that would be that observer creator. Like, you're in the game, you're a participant, but you're really not engaging.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my biggest pet peeves with human beings in general. It's like you're here, but you're mentally somewhere else. Just want to, like...
It's like, hey...
I'd rather be alone than with a warm body that's not even mentally here.
What time is it?
Yeah,
now?
exactly. Yeah.
Where are you?
Here.
Here.
Yeah. So, creator, co-creator, observer.
Yeah. I believe that we are always co-creating. Always creating and co-creating. So that would just be my answer. My final answer would really just be co-creator. Because it's not about creating something special. It's not about creating something different or like, these mundane things that are in the office that you look at 1,000 times, as much as it's about awareness, deciding who you want to be, how you want to show up, what you want to be special and what you don't want to be special. Even just by deciding something is or isn't special, you are creating that perspective internally.
Habitually or consciously.
Yep.
Conscious, subconscious.
I think the co-creation part comes from, the sky, the atoms, oxygen, trees.
But I feel like it's like if there was nothing, like I feel like a co-creator is just, if the sky wasn't there, you'd appreciate something else.
Correct.
And if it wasn't there, you wouldn't even know it wasn't there because you had no idea of its existence in the first place.
Right.
So how is that co-creation?
Well, because it is there.
It's something that exists in a singularity, whether or not you acknowledge its existence or value.
Right. So, for instance, on the other side of the planet, somebody's making something right now that
Somebody's making a sandwich.
I will never see it or even know what it's made of. I don't even know that it exists.
Isn't that crazy?
Right.
That's fucking nuts.
I am not co-creating that sandwich.
Exactly.
So that has nothing to do with me. I mean, obviously.
No.
You're right.
No.
Well, that's a whole nother podcast.
No, the butterfly effect. I am not there yet. We're
not
here.
Even the butterfly effect
That's
as
an
much as
episode
it has
133.
have to do with me. That gets into the whole like, hey, are we all the same person? Is it all, one universe thing? But that's not my point. To bring your point, something exists. I'm not co-creating it. But what does exist in my sphere of awareness at all times, I believe that I'm co-creating.
So are you co-creating the sky right now?
I'm co-creating no, so thank you for that.
Or are you just having an experience of the sky and that is your creation because it is the lens with which you're seeing that sky is your experience, and you've created that lens based on every experience that you've ever had up until now, your beliefs, your values, your mores, morals, norms, all of that really speak to that lens. And
then
you see the sky and you're
which
like,
was created by,
it just existed without you.
Right.
In singularity without you.
Yeah.
But because you have this pair of glasses on and you tend to you happen to just face your head through the sky with these glasses on, and you have this experience because you have all of this lens of interpretation, then that makes you a co-creator?
Yeah.
But aren't you just creating your experience based on your interaction with something that you've encountered in your experience of life?
Say it one more time because it was good.
God damn it.
Can
we rewind?
Aren't you just experiencing? Go ahead.
Aren't you just experiencing something that came into your sphere of awareness and you're just experiencing it the way that you are because of all of that behind you? But if you never experienced it, it wouldn't have mattered. But now that you're having that interaction with it, you're having an experience. How is that co-creation rather than just creating the experience that you're having with whatever you come in contact with?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It is that having that experience, whatever you come in contact with, and that's where the co-creation comes into. So what are
you co-creating?
In that experience?
No, in general. When we're talking about creation versus co-creation,
yeah.
What are you co-creating?
Well, anything that I create, I came from substance, matter, my brain.
Can we just talk in a general sense?
I'm trying to, so that's what I'm trying to.
Because I'm just not following.
I know.
Is this going to be another episode where I threaten to strangle you?
If I'm lucky.
Ryan, you're the best man, but like, I really want to understand you. So can we use smaller words?
So I'm not trying to
make me understand.
I'm not trying to create the sky because it already exists.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Right? I am.
I'm really glad that
got that part. Right?
We came to this conclusion.
I'm not saying that I'm a co-creator of the sky.
Okay.
I am saying that I want to create anything. So, to your understanding, what do you believe is something that I could create?
A man wearing a green shirt.
Awesome. So I've created that. But the physical elements that went into the shirt.
You did not create the shirt.
Correct.
So somebody has created the shirt, which allows you to then create a man in a green shirt, and that's your definition of co-creation.
Correct.
Oh, that's not metaphysical in my opinion. Well, I guess it is. But like not necessarily. I mean, if you weren't wearing a green shirt, you'd be wearing any other shirt.
Correct.
So why is that a metaphysical manifestation of somebody else's creation?
Because in order for me to wear this green shirt, that I decided one day, in fact, so this is a setless tee, right?
Go team.
So I decided one day to start this company.
Yeah.
Right? T-shirts, setlist on the back, etc., etc.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug, setlesstees.com.
Setless Tees. Check out your YouTube channel.
That's right. You can find us on YouTube.
Hot dog.
Anywho, yes, there is a hot dog in one of the videos. But I got a jingle. It's great. It goes Setless Tees. Anywho, so when I decided that, I decided to create this business. And I decided that I wanted to hire somebody to create this design. And they did. They put the lemon on it because it's a Lemon Wheel concert from August 15, 1998.
Feeling great since 98.
And then some point, once I did that, I created that idea, that vision. It came from nothing. It was literally did not exist. I, in my brain, spent some time thinking about it, creating it. This is what I want it to be. I hired a designer, make this design, put it on paper. I then put it on a website. I created it. Mm-hmm. Somebody then ordered this shirt, right? And then I had to have it printed. So I went and I had shirt. So all this stuff happened because one day I decided to create this company. So I'm a creator, which then led to X amount of months later, this shirt ending up on my back.
Sure. And your front.
And my front.
Gotcha.
And so, yes, it would have been a different shirt, but it wasn't. This was the one that I created.
I get it, but I mean, I get, like, in that usage, why you would say co-creation, because all of these different moving parts had to come together to create something in a greater whole. But how did you co-create the sky?
I just said I didn't co-create this guy.
Yeah, but the way that you were speaking about it earlier led me to believe that you did and then you didn't. And now I'm back to like, okay, so that makes sense because that's a business operation. I get it. There's moving parts. You have to have all of that. Versus like, how do I co-create my shoulder? How did my shoulder get co-created?
Well, when a man and a woman
I get it,
love
Ryan.
each
But
other
like
very
right
much.
now, I know it's so funny. I like really want to strangle you. So like how is my hair being co-created as we speak? Or is it the experience of my hair that is being co-created?
Either.
Explain both.
Okay. So
please.
Definitely the experience, right? You're experiencing it. You are
sharing the experience with somebody.
You know it. You can feel it. You can physically see it there. You can wash it, God willing.
Sometimes
comb it.
Only on Tuesdays.
Right. So, and you obviously are created again when we go down to the atoms, your body's growing hair. I don't know how that works, but yes. So well, that's the whole thing. I don't think you're co-creating your hair. I think there's things that are created elsewhere, including us. And when we show gratitude for anything or awareness of something that is tangible.
So I didn't co-create my hair.
I don't think you co-created your hair. Well, I guess physically you did. Because your body.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying, but I feel like
my head is wrapping around very small parts of this. Like my hair's in the way.
Does anybody out there know what I'm talking about? Am I making any sense?
I get it, but I feel like I feel like there's two applications here. There's the actual physicality of what's happening versus co-creating the experience of it. And I understand how they connect.
Right.
But I still find this difficulty.
So here's what I think.
Because if you sorry.
No, don't be.
But like if you decide to not want something, there's no co-creation. Like I love being alone. I love just doing shit alone.
Right.
I love my apartment. It's just my spot. Like even when people are over, like, after like, somebody's removed from your life, like I clean, I wash it of like all the things. Like it's my space.
Right.
And I've created that. Now, there's not somebody who comes in and co-creates it with me. Do you know what I mean?
No, but it physically exists. You also didn't use your hands to conjure it and put it there.
Kind of. Like all of the things that exist within it. And I did decide to take that space as mine.
Right. So you used your thought to decide where you wanted to be and what you wanted your space to feel and be like and look like and sound like and all of the above.
Yeah.
But the literally minute atoms of everything that made this couch one place that you like, all of these different things came from somewhere. So when you say, I'm grateful for this, or I'm aware of this, and I like this keyboard, or whatever it is, they all came from somewhere. They had to be physically created through atoms, through science, through other people's thoughts and experiences and drive and whatever it is to show up exactly where they showed up at your apartment. So you created a place with intention that you are comfortable and brings joy to you and brings light to others because that is your intention. But all the things that are there with you, you didn't physically create. So therefore, the intention of creating the experience for yourself and how you choose to exist on a daily basis was your doing. And all the things that were brought into that space that you went out and got and brought in, or other people brought in, or whatever, came from the co-creator.
Sure, but I don't feel like there is a metaphysical application here. I feel like that's like saying, like, we all co-created a building because one guy cut the wood down, another company made sheetrock, another guy made screws, and then even though I built it, I co-created it because I put it all together. I feel like there's almost an egotisticalness associated and then disassociated and then a generalized multitudinous gratitude that's given out. But I feel like ultimately whoever created a material that was imparted in the creation of whatever it is, the building, the wall, the room. And I almost just feel like it's just kind of hokey. I feel like it's a way to just say like, oh, everybody's all one. And like, I don't know.
It's cool.
But like I get the idea of manifestation and I understand the idea of, well, actually, What's the difference between co-creation and coincidence then? Coincidence.
I think they're very similar, if not the same.
So what is the difference then?
I don't see one.
Okay. So then tell me how they're the same, please.
I
If you
am
could.
thinking of yesterday. I'm in my office.
Yeah.
And I suddenly say, man, I should call my brother because I think I want to hang out with him today and play some baseball with my son. Within 5 minutes, he walks in the door without me calling him. That would be considered by many a coincidence.
Sure.
Or coinciding of thought versus action that occurred without my physically doing anything.
So you call it also co-creation because he had to be there for that experience to happen.
Right.
Which I feel like is just like saying I feel like the way that that's used is like co-creation then. Literally everything is a co-creation then, and everything is a creation then, and it becomes that nothing is a co-creation and nothing is a creation then. I feel like it's just an overgeneralized use of a term that loses its meaning because it then becomes overgeneralized. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
I could be wrong.
Well, no, I'm not even being facetious or coachy or annoying. I mean, that is
Wow.
that is your perspective, right? I mean, that's your, like, okay, so the overgeneralization piece is like, okay, an opinion, like, I feel like this is overgeneralized when you look at it in this giant thing, like, hey, nothing really matters anyway, as opposed to I'm looking at it much, oddly enough, less deep, like that's just, I think just a basic principle of existence is that we're co-creators.
I feel like I want this whole term of co-creation to have actually like more value and meaning instead of just a blanketed term to say like, oh, we can create anything, which I get, yeah, we can, but I feel like there should be more meaning to that term instead of saying like everything is a co-creation.
So what would a potential meaning be that you feel like would serve this purpose?
I feel like actual true co-creation involves intention.
Mm-hmm.
Like intention. So like when I decided to work here, like my intention was to work here, flat out. That's it. And I knew exactly. I had quit, or I intentionally got let go from my job, and I decided that I wanted to work at IPEC. I knew which one of my buddies I wanted to live with and where. Like I basically called them and was like, "Hey, I know you got a good thing going, but like we should be roommates and we should
excellent roomies.
Move to this place and we're going to find a really awesome apartment that's going to suit both of us in this price range, and I'm going to get this awesome job and that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to work from home these days and we're going to go and we're going to do awesome things and have fun." And that's exactly what happened. Like that's like I was not settling for anything less. Period. That's it. And that's what happened.
Right.
It was intentional versus like you just happen to walk in and there's salt on the table. That's not intentional. That's just a thing that's there. It's not a creation. I feel like creation involves intention to create. And I think there is unintentional creation, but I think what's behind it.
Well, and also, but going back to, I think if we all become more aware how often our intentions matter and make a difference in our experience, I think the individual is going to have a different perspective.
But then you go into conscious versus unconscious.
Right.
Like what level of consciousness?
Explain more.
So even though, I believe that intention is in everything. And that's why for me, I'd rather spend time alone than with somebody who's not engaged or somebody who's distant or something like that. Or just, like if I would feel like I'm alone when I'm with somebody, I'd rather actually then be alone.
Right.
Unless, like there's a concert where we're both sharing an experience, but we're not interacting and engaging.
Yep.
Or, you're over there reading and I'm over here doing something else. Like I get that. But the idea of intention being in everything is absolutely true. But sometimes you can have a conscious intention versus the unconscious intention, then varying levels thereof of consciousness that include your intention.
I think we both agree that the more you choose to intend everything that you do, the more those things will start to show up.
I would tend to agree, definitely.
So when they do show up, where do they come from? Your intention?
Your creation. Yeah, you intended that and you created it. And
through action, through thought, through follow through, through
all of the things. But the
yeah.
reason I don't think that is co-creation is because I feel like I created it. I walked into, the apartment that I ended up signing, and I decided to go there.
But the apartment was already there.
Exactly. It was always going to be there. And there's 100,000 million bajillion other apartments in multiple universes on multiple whatever. But because I decided to go into that one to me, it doesn't necessarily speak to co-creation. It's like, it's already there. It's all there. I'm choosing to create that experience. I've decided on that one.
So
You already have your experience, and I'm choosing to impart in that.
yeah, but you, what I heard you say, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you are creating intentions which lead to an experience which led you to an apartment. But that apartment, I guess what maybe the disconnect is. So I'm saying the apartment was built in 1923, whatever, and led up to this point where everything that led up to it being available at the exact same time, being the space that fit into your budget with your roommate, that also was a good spot for him to work and you to work. You need to create that. Right?
No.
Right. So
Well, for my experience,
that's the co part.
I created that experience. Because if I didn't have a budget and have an idea and have all this stuff, there would be nothing.
Yeah, but you created the experience, but part of that experience was things that existed that were created by not.
That's the difference, experience and actual physicality. Like the experience, the lens with which you look through life, the intention, all of the consciousness behind it, and then like the physical, tangible stuff that you can hold in your hand and open a door to and close a door to.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of the physicality a lot of it is there. And like there were multiple options for apartments.
Right.
And I could have easily just decided, nope, I'm going to do this. And I eventually did. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like.
And I guess the only difference is,
I think it's a meeting of intention, not a co-creation.
But so who created everything then?
Well, then that goes into the whole God question and the universe and where did everything come from? And then that leads into the meaning of life and purposefulness. And is there something greater than ourselves? And I don't really think that there's an answer to that.
All right.
Necessarily. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I don't know the answer specifically, like not who created it as much as it's just what created it. And that's kind of really, I guess, where my philosophy comes from. It's like, so if I don't perceive it, does it exist?
But do you think if you don't perceive it, it exists?
No.
Okay, so can you clarify? Because we did a lot of double negatives. So
Yeah.
One more time.
Carry the 4.
Seriously.
So if I don't perceive something, like if I don't exist, I don't have consciousness. I don't have awareness.
Let's talk about something very tangible, like a color. If you don't...
Sorry, if you don't see it, does it exist?
Yeah.
If a tree falls in the woods, nobody's there to hear it, doesn't make any sense.
That's different. That's science. Actually, no, it's not. The mantis shrimp has 9 more, I think, rods or cones than we do and can see hundreds of thousands of more colors than we could ever be able to perceive.
Right.
Because it's evolutionarily more advanced. Just as much as a dog can hear pitches that we cannot, because it's has a different advancement evolutionarily with its ears.
By the way, did I tell you that I started learning to play the dog whistle?
Oh my God. I'm so proud.
It's going really well.
Your family must be elated.
They love it. Go ahead, I'm sorry, yes.
But so do those sounds or colors exist then?
Of course.
But you just said that you don't believe that things exist if you can't experience them.
Well, they don't exist in my sphere.
So, but the question was, do you believe that they exist? Not do they exist for you in your physical
my answer was, if I didn't exist, would these other things exist?
Oh, I didn't even pick that one up.
Yeah, that's where I was going. So that's why I said no. But what you're saying is...
If you can't see it,
yeah, of course.
Or hear it.
There's stuff that's going on all over the place.
Exactly, okay. I was going to say, dude.
Or is it?
Well, somebody's making a sandwich. Well, then that brings you to Schrodinger's cat. The cat is neither alive nor dead. You cannot prove it.
Right.
You don't know. Just like we don't really know if there's somebody making a sandwich there. We can neither prove nor disprove it. I'm pretty sure
Chances
there is,
are somewhere.
but we can't prove it or disprove it.
Right.
And I gotta tell you, I've been all sorts of messed up lately because I got a new lens for my telescope.
Yeah?
And I've been seeing stuff out there.
It's out there.
They are here! Whoa!
I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Just saying. I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm just telling you.
Well,
did we come to a conclusion? I still feel lost and confused.
Yeah, I think the conclusion is that
You're very stoic about all this.
We've got different perspectives.
I don't even know what perspective I hold. I have to listen to this episode.
My perspective is that everything I'm doing, I'm creating. And I could not do that without the molecules that exist in the universe. Where they came from, I'm not sure, but wherever it is also creating my experience.
Sure.
But allowing me to have my experience. And so therefore, I could not do it in a vacuum. I'm not just floating in space doing absolutely nothing. Whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm talking, whatever I'm thinking, I'm part of. But there's another part of it that I don't understand fully how it happens. But it does.
I would definitely agree. I just am of this school of thought where I don't think the atoms are necessarily saying, oh, we're going to co-create this together. Okay, let's go, guys. Everybody line up and form a crystal.
So what if you were under that? What would be different about your life?
I don't think much would be different, honestly. I mean, for me, it's always having the highest and best intention at heart, as much as humanly
Sorry,
possible.
I'm laughing at the crystal part, but go ahead.
Well, because crystals line up very directly. It's one of the most like systematic forms of nature. I don't know. I read a thing the other
It's
night.
a math thing, I'm with you.
That was a little loopy though. But so there's that. But I don't even remember what we were talking about. But
you're saying the molecules line up and say, "Hey, Theresa's brain wanted to have this. Let's put it into place."
Oh, that's what it is. I feel like there has to be a consciousness to something.
Yeah.
For it to be co-created. So, like, does this table have consciousness?
So, great question. Thank you for clarity.
Oh, just no. Where are we going with that? I'm not ready.
No, I'm saying,
take it back.
No, I don't believe the table has consciousness.
Okay.
I believe there is an overall consciousness that permeates every single thing that we do. Some people call it God, some people call it universe, some people call it nature. I think that is everywhere, including molecules, atoms, the quarks.
And how does that affect this table?
Well, it showed up here somehow, didn't it?
Because somebody else with consciousness consciously moved it here.
Right.
This table did not have choice, did it?
No. But that doesn't...
So how is this table co-creating without choice or consciousness?
I'm not saying the table is my co-creator.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm asking for.
No, I'm saying, and I'll use God as an example, just to make it easier.
Oh, yeah. That makes it easier.
More simple.
Only wars have been fought over that one.
Right. But I'm saying, so something created this table. Meaning at the very molecular level.
So I don't remember who it is, but it goes into isness. Because this is not a table until we decided to put parts in certain places and call it a table.
Correct.
So then it goes down to, I
think you're just taking it in a different direction.
I think so too.
I think you're more, and I could be wrong on this. I will also re-listen to this episode. But I think that you are more caught up in the labels of what everything is and what this co-creator could be. And what the responsibility is of other people and things that don't matter, i.e. salt, i.e. table,
But now you're making it sound like the co-creator is a thing with choice. Not necessarily, the salt or the table or the mouse.
Well, I don't think that the co-creator is that. I think the co-creator is just this
dark
dark matter.
Moves this stuff
ether.
Around.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's just got all sorts of weird.
That's what. Thank you. So you understand me, though. It is the stuff that moves things around.
47 minutes in, and I think I'm starting to
sort
see
of
through your eyes.
What the fuck I'm talking about?
Give me your eyes and show me what you see.
Yeah.
Cool.
Music recommendation of the day. What do you got?
So wait, real quick. You're talking about the ether.
Yeah.
Okay. We could have just kind of... I feel like we should
I thought
just
that was
wipe
clear.
this.
I thought that was...
I don't know. I got mixed up. I was like, wait a second. So my hair decided to be here today.
Right, and I was really trying to keep up with you. The salt in the hair, and I was really...
Like the salt decided to be here? That's where I was like, Ryan, I got a card for a guy. He's down at the local.
He's nice.
He's got a degree.
I once had this vision, and I think I shared it with you on one of our mastermind calls, when I was deciding who I wanted to be and the life that I wanted to create.
Sure.
In the future, for future Ryan and all those who find value in his existence. I pictured myself, not even, I don't know how to explain, but I felt like the vision that came to me was like something sitting in a plate of sand and moving to the left or the right. I might have had arms or not. Like picture a starfish spinning to the right or spinning to the left, right?
Yeah.
And the sand right in front of it doesn't just move, or on the sides of it, but the sand that sand touches moves, and the sand that sand touches
kind of like a ripple effect?
Like a ripple effect.
But in sand?
Yeah.
Okay.
But and I'm seeing when these different things, so you have thought, you have intention, you have creation, you start taking action, you start having conversations, you decide who you want to be. So that ether, so that other things are happening, you're not seeing it happening, but because you do these things, other things are physically, on a very molecular level happening that are bringing your intention to reality.
Okay, so I get that, and I would agree. I just don't...
So I'm calling that my co-creator.
Yeah, I get that. To me, I mean, I get it, but like my mom always said, change one thing, everything changes, and logically it makes sense. So to pull ether into it, I mean, I see it both ways, but I don't think it's necessary to have ether. There were 2 days in a row. It's not like the whole concept of ether, I feel like, doesn't necessarily have to apply here for it to make any sense. Okay. And I get that that's the intention, is to like kind of like converse about it, but think about it, right? So there are 2 days where I just caught the light. Like, I literally...
In a stoplight.
It was like
For
right,
those that
right
don't know
out,
what that means.
like right over, whatever, like a block away from here.
Yeah.
And there was one day when I say caught the light, I actually just didn't catch the light. Rather, like I made it through with yellow and I kind of sped through.
Excuse me.
One day I almost hit a deer. Like I clipped him, accidentally out of nowhere, just came flying out. It's kind of like a residential area, and I was like, holy shit! Would I still have clipped that deer if I had hit the red light? Probably not. But because I was like, you know what, I'm really tired, I really want to get home, kind of gunned it a little bit, that was the choice that I made. But does it mean that that deer would have or would not have ran had it seen my car or not? Do you know what I mean? Like, would that deer still, does a deer still cross a road whether or not there's a car there to hit it? Yeah. And then from there, the next day, I did the same thing and there was no deer. So I was like, okay. But because I made a choice, might have, maybe I clipped the deer and I killed the deer had I chosen to hit the gas harder. Maybe I would kill the deer. Deer's laying on the side of the road. The next day, somebody's driving by, sees this dead deer, slams on the brakes, causes a massive accident. Somebody ends up going to the hospital, and they find out, you have cancer, we caught it just in time. So for me, speeding through that red light, I technically saved someone's life.
You saved someone's life.
But logically, that makes sense that would happen.
Right.
I don't necessarily feel like there needs to be this existence of an ether to create this occurrence. It's a logical thing that should happen based on what is.
All right. Well, we'll agree to disagree then.
I mean, I believe that there is something there, but I don't necessarily believe that there has to be. Okay. So ultimately, it doesn't really matter either way. I mean, does it change the way that you live your life?
Yes, it does.
Really?
Well, just
wouldn't you want to? Okay, sorry, I'm being judgmental. Like really judgy.
Yeah, I mean, not in a bad way or a good way, just in a way that I feel it's like so I have something that I enjoy expressing gratitude towards. And so through gratitude that it's not just me, in fact, it kind of removes the ego a little bit, that I'm not just doing it on my own and it's not just going to happen either way. It is something that exists, the wonder of life exists for me.
Okay, well, isn't that really egotistical though? Like there's ego in there because it's for you?
Meaning, so tell me more.
That's what ego is like everything is for me. It's mine. It feeds me. It gives me, no?
Well, me, you, everybody. So I guess in that sense that it's not just me. I can appreciate it because it's happening for me. Go ahead.
I'm curious. So if you took that same amount of gratitude that you give for the ether and gave that to a specific human being that you've decided to give that gratitude to, what do you think would be different for you?
I do that, actually.
do.
I did say
So...
So nothing. It's just a wider thing to be grateful for.
No. You would take all of the gratitude that you throw toward the ether and you'd throw it at another human instead.
Yeah.
You can't do both. You can't give something to something and then not give it to something and give it to something else.
Right. So what would be different about my life?
What would be different?
I would find someone to be a god. And probably spend all of my life.
So people would argue that that's what love is.
Okay. I'm not following the path here.
That you are throwing all of this towards someone and you epitomize them and that's your experience of love.
Okay. So then if I have love for my existence, so in the opposite one, since I'm not doing that, I'm not taking all of that gratitude from the ether and I'm giving it where I'm giving it to just my existence.
The opposite of love is indifference.
Yeah, so I'm still love. That's what I'm saying. I love life. I love the ether. I love my experience. I love all these things that are given to me. I'm just not directing it at a human. A specific human.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, where could you do the most good and impact somebody's life? And it would be one-on-one.
Yeah. Just with gratitude.
All right, we should wrap this up.
Shall we?
I'm going to go home and drink. Just kidding.
Heavily.
Well, lots of water.
Yeah, I would co-create it now.
It's so hydrated.
I'm going to go home and co-create a buzz.
I just got some toilet paper I want to try out. It's brand new. It's on sale.
So soft.
Quilted. Music recommendation?
Yes.
What do you got?
It's your turn. Remember last week I did Arcade Fire?
Did we already do Ingrid Michaelson?
No.
I really like her a lot.
Tell me everything about her within 15 seconds that you want to.
She makes good music.
Type?
It's kind of like indie, eclectic, poppy kind of. I mean, she's... Oh, I wasn't prepared.
That's okay.
We should check her out anyway.
What's her name again?
Ingrid Michaelson.
Ingrid Michaelson. Is there a particular type of song? So, is it rock, pop? Is there electronic pop? Is it acoustic pop? Is it... Oh, we're going to the actual technology. We're using the Google machine. I'll tell you a quick joke. Should I tell? Oh, no, here it comes.
The Way I Am is a good one.
The Way I Am by Ingrid Michaelson. Here it comes. You
Is
can
this it?
Don't play more than 8 seconds, otherwise we got to pay for it. It's a real law.
Yep, that's the one.
Okay. Ingrid Michaelson. What's the song
The
called?
Way I Am.
The Way I Am. Recommended today.
Less than 8 seconds.
She is Theresa Herezga. I only heard 3 beats a day. I think we're safe. That could have been any song.
He's Ryan Stanley. Could have been a bongo.
And we are shitty coaches.
We are.
No,
shitty
we're
coaches
not.
on the Coachy Shit podcast.
This is the Coachy Shit podcast. We're really grateful you're here. Check us out on social media.
Yeah, and I just want to put a disclaimer out there. I would never strangle Ryan. I'd have somebody else do it.
Right, exactly.
Just kidding.
Keep the hands clean.
All right.
High fives all around.
High five.
We'll see you next week.
Cheese up.